Slept on Cinema is sponsored by Training Ties, the ultimate shoe tying tool. If you know someone who's struggling with shoe tying for any reason, Training Ties is the perfect solution.
Bone-crushingly stupid.
The story makes no sense and is often more laughable than exciting.
As a child, I loved this movie. Then I grew up and realized just how bad it was.
Too many dull shootouts and dopey dialogue that sounds even dopier coming from Van Damme.
A turd times 2.
2 JCVDs are too many.
Almost a guilty pleasure, but not quite. Welcome to this week's episode of Slept on Cinema. I'm your host, StanSteamer.
And I'm GrobeStreet.
This week we're getting into the 1991 Jean-Claude Van Damme classic. And this is one of these things, I think, we've talked about this before. I think it was with Steven Seagal, maybe, that he is his own genre.
It's not an action movie. It's not a 90s action. It's not a thriller. It's a JCVD movie.
Yes.
And you know that right away.
Yeah, right away. It's fantastic. We'll get into all the reasons why it is, but can't wait to get into this. Shockingly, this movie, like all movies we review, is at or below 50% of Rotten Tomatoes for both critics and audiences. And we structure the podcast so that the first half is spoiler-free, talk about some things to look for in the film, take a break, go watch the film, come back, and talk about what we just saw.
Rotten premise. Nearly 25 years after seeing his father killed by Hong Kong crime boss Raymond Zhang, Chad Wagner is living in Los Angeles as a flourishing yet peaceful martial arts trainer. But Chad has a twin brother, Alex, who suddenly reunites with his less aggressive sibling and wants to avenge their father's death. As the pair plan their payback against Zhang, they also struggle to overcome their personal differences. Critics 33%, audience 42%. I think that premise leaves out a lot, maybe a bit to be desired. A lot more happens than what's said there, but this movie's awesome, and we didn't add yet, but this is a little different from the typical podcast that we do. It sounds any bit different.
Yeah, it might sound different. We are in the same place for the first time ever.
I think this is our 60th or somewhere around 60th podcast, and this is the first time we've been in the same room. A little bit different. Oftentimes,
it is different.
I think I find my eyes going away from there's more eye contact. It's very strange, but this is awesome. Now we get to have, I'm really excited to do this because we have some of our drinks from our first segment already poured.
Yeah, I can't wait to get into this. The movie was so much fun. I feel like we say movies are a lot of fun a lot of the time, but this one was one of the most fun movies we've seen. I think as all Jean-Claude Van Damme movies are, I think they're probably all like in the top 90th percentile of our movies in my mind.
I think I forget about them until I watch them, and then it's one of these, we've talked about this before, whatever your most recent one that you saw was, that's your favorite one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the most recent one was Sudden Death, but that's like, that's probably one of my favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. And then we did this, and I'm like, this is probably one of my favorite. This now is my favorite one, but it's just whatever I saw last.
Yep. Yeah, Sudden Death. Man. I feel like Sudden Death is probably always creeps back up to being number one, and then whatever I see knocks it off for a while, and then Sudden Death just like kind of creeps back up and it's number one.
Whenever recency bias is gone, it just comes back.
This movie came out August 9th, 1991. It opened number 2 to Hot Shots, which is kind of, I feel like this would never happen today. Like you would never have a movie like Hot Shots opening number 1 and a movie like this opening number 2. You probably never even have 2 of those movies coming out at the same time.
They don't even make movies like Hot Shots anymore.
They don't. They really don't. I feel like they had that run, the like scary movie genre.
Yeah, right.
And that was it. We haven't had anything since. I don't think.
No.
Ended up taking in $7.5 million its opening weekend. It did beat out Terminator 2.
What?
Which is amazing. It was week 6 of Terminator 2. But still, it beat out Terminator 2. That's something you put on your tombstone. Overall made $30 million domestic, $80 million worldwide on just a $16 million budget. A lot of people made a lot of money, I hope.
Good. And the $16 million, it doesn't sound like a lot for a lot of movies, but that's substantial for a movie like this. $16 million in the mid 90s for like some would assume like just a throwaway action movie. And you can see the money in the stunts and in so many areas of this movie. You can see the $16 million.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a flawless film. We'll get into it later, but it is interesting. I mean, I think Van Damme really wanted to do this. He saw this as an opportunity to expand his range, and I think for him expanding his range meant two different people that are very, very different and playing them both, which I think is sort of every actor's dream. And it's also one of the reasons you see less martial arts, because he sort of wanted to get away from being just known as a martial arts guy, and then having one character that's violent, one character that's not as violent. He had also apparently recently seen Dead Ringers and saw Jeremy Irons playing two of them there. Fantastic movie. But that inspired him to put this movie together. He also, there's a love scene here, which I think was a first for him. And he saw that as also an opportunity to expand his repertoire as an actor.
Yeah, there certainly was a love scene in this movie.
Yeah. Yes.
That's funny that's his first one, because typically I would assume these like mid-90s movies to always have a scene like that, but I guess he wasn't involved in that world yet. Yeah. I know the Seagal and Bruce Willis or whatever, they all have those scenes that are in there. It's like a requirement.
Yep.
But I guess
especially Seagal.
Especially Seagal. But after this, I think it was for Van Damme too.
Yeah.
Because he really came into his own in that aspect in this movie.
Yeah. Van Damme even got a screenwriting credit. He helped write the script here, which you don't. I feel like he gets a bad rap as just coming off as like a dumb guy, an action star, and people just think, well, you're an awesome action star. You can't possibly also be smart. But he wrote the script, or co-wrote the script. It was based off of The Corsican Brothers, which is an Alexander Dumas story. I'm sure you're familiar with it.
Yeah, of course.
19th century.
I think I just finished that.
French novelist and playwright. But to go from Dumas, it was, one of the more, I feel like, famous old-timey writers, did Count of Monte Cristo and Three Musketeers and all that, to make this fantastic movie. And it was Van Damme's idea to change the name to Double Impact, which I think was a strong.
It's a strong name. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah, the Corsican Brothers.
No,
that's not taking out Terminator 2.
No, absolutely not. That sounds like a Brad Pitt soft movie from the 90s.
Yeah. That only opens up at a few theaters, and your parents go.
They get a babysitter to go watch the Corsican Brothers.
Right.
I have an award that he had won this year from this movie, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, what is it?
So this is an MTV award. He didn't win, but he was nominated because of this movie. And he kind of is feeling this, you can tell in the movie, Most Desirable Male. Up for a nomination in what year was this?
91.
So that is the youth. That's essentially being like TikTok now, being like that's one of the most attractive guys in movies, and that was Jean-Claude.
I get it.
Yeah, we make fun of it now. Like, how did everyone? He's goofy, even though he's like pastels. We'll get to this in tight clothes, but back in the 90s, it was working.
Good for him.
Should we get to bolos?
Let's do it.
Can I please go first?
Yes, and how did you feel about this movie? Was this a high bolo movie, a low bolo movie?
It was low bolo for me, but it was oftentimes what I saw. And sometimes I can be focused on like the words. And in this one, most of my bolos were like things I saw.
I thought it was sort of maybe right in the middle, but it was a really fun bolo.
Oh, yeah.
This movie, and maybe it's just the time, the early 90s, 80s to 90s transition. There was just a lot of fun things that they didn't have to do that they did. It was just this was a fun exercise. I think you're right. And that's partly because the movie is meant to be a little tongue in cheek. Yes.
It's not supposed to be taken that seriously. Yes. So it's not a coincidence that these bolos are fun, because some of them are meant to be funny.
Yes.
They're in on the joke a little bit.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, 100%.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited about this one.
Let's hear it.
Bolo.
Yep. I had right there. First item on the list.
I knew you were going to take it.
Yeah. I mean, seeing his name come up in the credits in the beginning is just like, hell yes.
And
run it back.
And there's no internet back in 91 by any stretch. There's no way to communicate with anyone. So when you have a thought about a movie, like I thought that guy in Bloodsport that Van Damme fought at the end was awesome. And then you watch another movie like the next year, and there he is again against Van Damme. Like, all right, so everyone agreed that was amazing, right?
Right. You have to imagine you're seeing this in the theater. The movie erupts. The theater erupts in applause. Yes.
Right.
That there's no way that didn't happen in every single movie.
And every time he comes on the screen, there's that like,
yeah.
It's just so good.
Great one. I'm gonna go Bolo, and this is also right off the bat. Bolo, a parade. I feel like there was a time period where opening a movie with a parade was a thing. Is there any better way to open a movie than with a parade?
No, there isn't. And it really makes you like listen. Especially if there's like a military parade. I remember, what was that, A Few Good Men or No Escape also. Like there's a military ceremony of like marching or parade, and everyone's like, all right, this is a parade. We have to be quiet, and it gets everyone into the mood. That's a great opening. And I wonder if you must have seen this, but BOLO, Terry McKean from Lawnmower Man.
Nice. Love that. I'm going to go BOLO, Only One Split.
Wow. Okay. You're right. I wrote down splits because I think it's one split.
I think it's one split. There might be another kick that is sort of
splitty. Yeah.
But there's one it's a great
split. This one this movie only needed one split. Because other ones would have paled in comparison. So this is almost a little Hot Tub Time Machine-y. BOLO, this amazing split.
Yes.
BOLO, this goes to my last one, but BOLO, a hairpiece.
BOLO, silk underwear.
BOLO, squibs. Big thing in action movies back in the day, squibs. And squibs. It's like the little like blood packets that explode in your chest to make it seem like you were shot, and you just like react after. It used to be just squibs all over the place, and there's so many of them.
We should get some of those.
I can't believe we haven't. Yeah, that seems like a lot of fun to play with.
I'm going to go with BOLO, a duty-free trunk.
BOLO pastels.
These are back now. I'm going to go BOLO calf socks.
BOLO, an over-the-top sensitive baby.
I'll follow that up on the baby with I don't know if this is quite the right term, and I feel like I'm using this wrong, but a misgendered baby?
Yes.
Is that the right word?
I don't know.
It's a baby a female baby playing a male baby character.
Yes. Playing a sensitive baby character.
I don't know what the word is, but keep an eye out for that.
BOLO crotch grabs.
And sexual harassment. BOLO sexual harassment.
Lots of that. And also BOLO crotch kicks.
Yes, your favorite.
Yep.
BOLO, a Trump reference.
Yep. BOLO, a big surprise, a huge surprise.
Nice. BOLO, an homage to Goldfinger.
Oh, yep. BOLO, the F word, but not that one. A worse one now.
Yes. Yeah, that one, very cringy.
Very cringy.
Yeah. BOLO, Mahjong. I think it's our first Mahjong movie.
Do you think I almost kept this as a question, but do you think there's going to be a point in our lives when we're really into Mahjong? Because it looks
awesome.
Looks awesome.
I really hope so. Because I also, it looks awesome. It looks like it's complicated to learn.
Yes, sure.
But it also looks like it's one of these games that takes forever to set up and clean up. But apparently, I was reading this article, there are now digital Mahjong tables that you can play, and it has like tactile pieces, but it somehow cleans them up and sets them up for you. That is taking the world by storm.
Wow. I hope it takes us by storm soon, because it looks like getting into a Mahjong would be like a fun, horrible vice for a number of years.
But it just looks fantastic. I think we need to figure out how to play Mahjong.
BOLO, an unnavigable obstruction.
Yeah. I will go BOLO, an unlit cigar.
BOLO, some of the best goons and villains in movie history.
Oh, yes, absolutely. BOLO, a red dot.
Maybe an unnecessary red dot. Let's see. BOLO, lots of spilled whiskey.
Yes. Shame. BOLO, a steam bun. Love steam buns.
Good use of steam in this movie.
This was the era of steam.
Yeah.
We've been through some other steam movies before, but they really knew what they were doing with steam.
We've lost touch of steam now.
Yeah,
I think we're so digital. No one's afraid of steam anymore.
I don't know. I mean,
I don't
steam burns. Those are
terrible.
Yeah,
that looked awful.
Maybe steam's just more expensive now.
Oh, because it's real. Yeah. BOLO, some of the best booze guzzling I've ever seen. Maybe since League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but this is some of the best guzzling.
Great guzzle film. Did you know that in New York there are steam pipes? Like in your building, you turn on, you got your water pipe, you got your gas pipe, and you got your steam pipe, and you can just get steam There's like municipal steam.
No?
Yeah.
Is this a thing?
All of New York is powered. There's steam pipes that run. That's why there's all those like steam things coming up everywhere, because there's an entire system of piped steam all through Manhattan.
Have you ever lived in one of these apartments? Or
I've been to some, but
is it as awesome as it sounds?
I think most places use it for like heating buildings,
and
things like that. But it's this whole insane steam system that was generated back, when they built things.
I like to think though that if you wanted to, you could torture someone or do whatever you wanted to with that steam that's there. It's available.
Anyhow, it's beside the point. Just, I start thinking about steam.
Sure, of course.
StanSteamer. BOLO, lots of nail polish remover.
BOLO storming off.
And BOLO, a quick change of mind.
BOLO, this might be one of my favorite scenes in the movie, but BOLO, a poorly received dick joke.
Yes. BOLO, a shadow fight.
So good.
So good.
BOLO, a come to find out very unnecessary cane.
Or very necessary.
Oh, very necessary.
Yeah.
Wow. An interesting, possibly necessary cane.
BOLO, leather pants.
Yep. BOLO, a brutal back punch.
And BOLO, cowboy boots.
Yep. And that might be my last one here. BOLO, I'll just go with BOLO culture shock.
Oh, good one. I'll go my last one. BOLO, Louis Vuitton luggage.
Oh, yeah. Very Louis.
Yep.
And I should have said this first, just in general, for something to look out for. Just look at the differences in how JCVD plays Chad and Alex and everything. And it goes to like the fighting style, the way they eat things, the way they talk. Like he's going for it on the extreme on both sides.
How do you think they filmed this? Like, do you think they filmed each scene and he played both? They must. They couldn't have filmed it as him as one person and then filmed it him as the other person.
No.
I
don't think so. I bet there's a really simple answer for how they filmed this, but I would imagine it's the way you're saying. Yeah, that would have to be it. Drink to pair with the movie?
Yeah.
Our first in-person drink to pair with the movie?
I'll go first.
Sure.
Because yours is actually involved. And I should have made this, but I'm lazy and don't have all the ingredients.
We've got great wine here. So
instead of that, I just poured a glass of wine.
Which actually pairs with every movie out there. If you ever don't know the answer, just get great wine.
Get a good bottle of wine. And it's probably better than whatever we're telling you. My drink is a Hong Kong sour, which is whiskey, Chinese herbal tea, lemon, honey, and then egg white to give it a silky texture.
It sounds incredible. I am now. I understand why you didn't make it.
Yes.
Anything with an egg white is always.
What am I trying to kill everybody?
Right. I had found some other recipes that would look good, but I knew I was coming here, so it's like, what am I going to make?
Right.
And I couldn't do that. So I went with a Hong Kong Boilermaker, which is Asian beer, which they had a very small. I couldn't get any beer from China, so I got a Sapporo from Japan. Sure, right?
Yeah.
And then I got an American whiskey. What I'm making here is the Boilermaker, and the reason I did that is because it's a little touch of Hong Kong and a little touch of America.
Yeah, East meets West.
East meets West.
Why is that hard to say? East meets West.
Tea? Maybe it's the tea. And I just thought it's perfect to go along with the name, Double Impact.
Oh, brilliant.
Double Impact.
Love that.
That's what this drink is all about, is a Double Impact.
I think we should just change the name of this to the Double Impact.
The Double Impact, right?
Yeah.
How is this not the Double Impact?
Next time we go to a bar,
can I have a Double Impact?
Order a Double Impact. They go, what? Oh, you got to get a Chinese beer and an American whiskey and then just, drop it in.
Yeah, you never had this before?
Yeah, you dumbass.
All right,
here we go.
Cheers. Ooh, Double Impact.
Double Impact.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I can't wait to order a Double Impact.
I'm going to keep ordering it. The drunker I get, just more Double Impact. And just keep pretending that they know what it is.
Can you imagine if the guy's like,
yes. I've heard your I was one of those people who heard your podcast.
You pulled out this Chinese beer. I've been saving this.
I'll make it all worth it. All right, so those are your drinks to pair with the movie. We got our Double Impact. And what was the name of your cocktail?
Hong Kong Sour.
The Hong Kong Sour. If you can't tell, this movie is a blast. Enjoy, and we will see you on the other side.
Enjoy.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. He always makes an impact. Now, get ready for double impact.
There's 2 of them. Think about it.
Van Damme times 2.
He looks exactly like you.
Me?
Twin brothers reunited on a mission.
Watch my back.
To avenge their parents' death. One packs a punch. One packs a piece.
Good to me.
Together, they deliver double impact.
Excuse me.
From Hollywood to the Far East. On land. On sea. And in the air. They're damn quick.
Express service.
Damn cool. Damn hot.
So now what do we do? That's what I love about you.
Van Damme. Times 2. Double the fun.
I would never in my life wear black silk underwear. I'm with you on that one.
And double the Van Damage. Double impact.
Slept on Cinema is brought to you by Training Ties, the ultimate shoe tying tool. If you know anyone who's struggling with shoe tying, Training Ties is the perfect solution. Or if you know anyone who just doesn't like tying their shoes, Training Ties keep shoes tied all day long. Say no to Velcro and yes to independence with Training Ties.
Welcome back.
Wow.
That was awesome.
Best JCVD movie ever?
100%. At least right now. 100%.
I'm kind of like, I know sometimes we talk about the movie right after, but
I think we just get right into the draft.
Let's get right into the draft.
I maybe have more draft picks than I have had for any movie, so
Sick.
we're going to have to go through some honorable mentions.
Awesome. All right, let's get right to it then. You got the first pick. Oh, wait, hold on. Before, do you
Yes.
have a lot of first picks or do you have a lot of like mid-tier?
I would say I have 2 first picks and then a whole bunch in the middle and then maybe a whole bunch of sleepers.
Perfect.
But my first overall, I'm going with just the concept of the double roll. It's one of these things.
You literally took that off my draft board.
Yes.
That was my number 1 pick.
I mean, it's this movie. Every movie with a double roll is great. I feel like when you are an actor,
Mhm.
this is almost like the pinnacle. Like this is
Yeah.
when you can take on the double roll, you've already made it. You're like, I can do this. It's ballsy because a lot of people, it goes off the rails a lot.
Sure.
So it's like, wow, he's going for it situation. And I love that. I love when people go for it and he nails it here. And I know he was using it to sort of showcase different sides, which works, but it's also just a really fun thing. It's like this movie is a fun movie that goes for it. It's kind of jokey. That's also what the double roll is.
Yeah.
I think it's probably harder to pull off the double roll in something like Dead Ringers where it's not as hokey as this. But regardless, I think it fits this movie perfectly. Like, can you imagine this movie where they're just brothers and one is played by Christian Slater or something?
But you're
like,
right. I didn't even think of it about it the way I didn't mean to cut you off, but I didn't think about it the way you said it. But the fact that there is like a little bit of like not humor but lightness.
Yeah.
When there's a double roll, you can't have Schindler's List with a double roll. Like, it doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't work. But it adds like a lightness to so many movies, and even if the movie isn't your cup of tea, it's going to be fun already just seeing the actors like act across from themselves. But look at just this list of some random like double roll ones.
Mhm.
The Parent Trap, incredible.
Yep.
All the Austin Powers, incredible.
Mhm.
None of the Professors like made a living off of that.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the whole point of the
Yep.
Night Professors. The Multiplicity was incredible. That was
Yep.
early on with all those.
And that we might do at some
I
point.
know.
It
right,
is eligible.
Yeah, it's eligible. I can't. Coming to America, of course, like that. These
Mhm.
guys are made famous by playing everyone in the movie. I guess it just keeps being Eddie Murphy. But
He was good.
He was good. And then the adaptation with
Mhm.
Nicolas Cage back
Yep.
in the day. There's that.
Yep.
It's just so much fun to see. And also JCVD himself a bit in Time Cop.
Yes, right.
Right. We
Yep.
have some
right
of
at
that
the end.
with
Yeah,
himself,
we get
yeah.
that.
It's just fun.
I will always give a double roll movie a chance.
Because even at the sometimes I won't even look at what's going on. I'm just looking at how they're doing the two guys on the screen. How are they talking to each other? Did the eyes line up? Does it stand in? Does it look? Can you see the lines on the outside like they've been cut and paste? And it's just that alone is enough to keep the attention.
Especially here in 1991, they don't have the technology that they'd have now. Where I'm sure now you do. We could probably do this on our iPhones right now.
I think there was
back then. This was serious.
There's like AI things you can do in an app right now that can get this going. But this was like a whole big deal that they had to line the shots up. So I think that maybe is the obvious first pick. That's what I had as my first pick. I alluded to this earlier. I was going to take just one of them, but I have to take the whole crew. The enemies in this movie are, this is like a video game. And I heard that this movie was compared to like Double Dragon. This is like a version. This is more Double Dragon-y than the actual Double Dragon movie, which would make sense why there's so many good bosses and bad guys and villains, because they all have like a feature. So we have Griffith and Zhang, which are just two evil suited guys that just are having coats put on them. They're
you have two core bad guys.
And
then amazing henchmen.
And then you have Bolo Young, which may not even be the main henchman. I don't even know who it is. Then there's the jacked woman, Kara. Amazing. And then we had, out of nowhere, the biggest sleeper scene. I won't get to the scene, but the Boots dude.
Yes. The Boots alone are amazing.
Good Lord. Those are the 5 people. And the enemies, I don't think this is going to be taken because it's the enemies. It's all part of it. But like all those enemies were alive with 30 minutes left to go in the movie. So that all happened where they had all these boss battles at the end with all these, and they did such a good job of building up these characters. This movie gets made fun of so much for having a bad script, but that's so short-sighted in what it's doing. It builds up the characters because these guys all have amazing athletic features. It's not no one wants to hear Bolo Young talk. I mean, that's not true. I do kind of like his lines, but Kara, whatever, you just want to see them do their cool things. And that's what they do. They do their cool things. We don't need the dialogue. Dialogue would get in the way of splits and stabbing, and crushing someone, and punching someone's spine out.
Yeah, right. Throwing around giant vats of nail polish remover.
The cleaning jerks of nail polish removers. Yeah.
So I mean, it could be the best roster of bad guys ever. It could be.
Even like we do Batman movies and they have some, this is better than that.
It's better.
Which is so crazy.
And it really, the female strong woman.
Kara?
Yeah, Kara really felt like it launched Xenia in GoldenEye. There was a clear homage in GoldenEye to this character. I mean, it was basically the same
person.
And she had the same move.
It's so cool in movies when a character comes in and you don't even expect. We thought we already got the henchman. We had Bolo, cool, right? And she didn't come in till like 50 minutes in. There's like this meeting with the evil guys, and she's just there behind. You're like, wait a second, that lady's really big. I hope she's a part of. Oh, and she is. And then his chest stabs the dude and makes her appearance. It's just such a cool movie. Maybe that's part of it too, because every scene has a JCVD or one of these amazing bad guys in it. So we're going to take the bad guys.
That's a great pick.
And the second pick, you took mine. I was going to take Bolo. I think I don't have much to say about it. It just kind of came out of nowhere, but I got to talk about it. The darkened room fight with the Boots guy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that was. It seemed out of place for the movie. And some people had said that people who didn't like that were like, what was that? Didn't get what it was like showing, but I just stopped everything every time that came on, and it was just like, what is this? What is going on? It was just such a cool, like
the details.
Hail Mary,
like they were doing. It was one of these things. A lot of these things in this movie, it was unnecessary.
Yeah,
but I'm so glad they gave it to us.
And they turned off the sounds. You could hear like the little voices, and just very unique from the rest of the movie. Yeah, and all the other fights. So I got to take that darkened room fight scene with Stirrup Dude.
That's a great pick. I feel like they should teach that. Like that's in film school. They should be watching that.
It breaks you out of your malaise and watching. You're like, wait a second. All the other fight scenes kind of look the same, and then this happened. It's totally almost different. Like that Kill Bill when she went past all the crazy 88s, and they get to that scene in the back with, I forget her name, the age. What's her name? There's like the sword fight, and there's that water that goes. That sound. It's amazing
Yeah,
how
just breaks it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It breaks you out of that crazy. So you were watching that crazy bloody mess massacre, and then all of a sudden, this little water noise brings you back in.
Yeah,
Crazy.
that's a great call. Man, this movie's just
That's
so good.
It's got like the
so good.
artsy fartsy stuff and just meathead stuff.
My second pick, I'm going with Hong Kong.
Yeah,
Hong Kong as a location is always a winner. I think it's probably changing now that it's the politics of Hong Kong have shifted recently, but especially in this era where you have obviously you have China, you have the United Kingdom, this really weird mix of East meets West. So you have that, you have these really jam-packed urban scenes. You have the neon, you have all this different stuff, you have the gambling, you have all this stuff that is so uniquely, the combination is so uniquely Hong Kong. There are pieces that are not unique elsewhere in the world, but the combination is so Hong Kong. And it's probably the best, at least in this era, I would say it's the best location to film a movie
I'm not
in the
sure
entire world.
Was Bloodsport Hong Kong? Is it?
It might have been.
Might have been. I don't know what it seemed like it, but yeah, I'm not sure you can come up with a better spot, especially for exactly this type of movie. When there's like some loose connection in our dumb brains to like there's karate, so we have to be in Asia, I guess. So let's just go to Hong Kong and China. Sure. It just makes sense. Plus the setting is just like, let's have a refinery over here, and let's have boat dock over here. Let's have some other warehouse over here. It just is so perfect for boss fight scenes.
Yes. You get ocean, you get like compact
containers.
Yes. You get really, really concentrated cities. You also get British bad guy, Chinese bad guy, the whole thing.
You get accents because everyone's from all over the world there. And there's some weird accents in this movie too, which are great.
It's a perfect city for having your movie based.
Wow.
Perfect.
Yep. It's funny. Like if you heard that there's a new JCVD movie coming out, part of you is like crossing your fingers, being like, please be set in Hong Kong.
Yes.
Please. I don't want this in North Dakota. And he's like trying to go a different route.
Riding
no way.
Horse or something.
Stop it.
No. My third pick, and this it fits in with Hong Kong, but I just love anytime there's an action scene on docks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Docks are just there's something, it's always at night, obviously. And there's just something great and eerie and classic about docks. I don't know what it is.
I think and the thing is, it also is synonymous with these types of movies. Like Seagal always is listening to someone having a fight at a dock. All these types of action stars are around docks. Like evil mafia guys always have a meeting at docks.
Yeah, there's all sorts of. It's also a politician. The shadows are always there. You've got the water, which is always dangerous. You've got all sorts of weird machines.
Because we're also a part of the import-export business always.
Yes.
And
no one else is ever paying attention to docks. Like it's just a part of the city that's like off limits for police.
I think we're going to
anything goes.
Right, it's like a rotary. No one can get in.
Yes. Except for when they all show up at once. That does happen.
That does happen. That's true. Right. And then you're just like, and then you use a boat, I guess, right? But I think docks in our movie that we'll make, there has to be multiple docks
in Hong Kong.
Yeah. In Hong Kong. Great. That was your third pick?
That was my third pick.
The rest of mine are all they're all sleepers. So I'm going to go with shooting at feet under cars always works. Yeah. So whenever you're hiding behind something and you're like, oh, where are these guys? And they look under a car, and sometimes people like look under the cars. They have a gun. They go, there they are. And they stand up and try to shoot them.
Dummies.
So you can just you don't even have to hit them. You can skip the bullet into their feet. It's so much easier almost.
And you get shot in the foot. You're not going anywhere.
You just drop down, and guess what happens when you get shot in the foot? You can get shot in the face because you fall down. It's just, you can stay down there. You have to get up. Yeah, I liken this to when you brought up the foolproof method. When it's like a gunfight or something, you pick up a rock or something nearby and you throw it over there. That will always work. So if you're in a gunfight,
Johnny Mnemonic was the best movie where we've seen that.
Get over there. Wait, what was that over there? And you just shoot him in the head. Bam. So then, if you're in a gunfight in a kitchen and the other guy isn't looking under the table, look under the table.
Yep. I like that a lot.
So that's my. Apparently that isn't my sleeper.
How could it be? That could buzz.
Right. This is just more of a personal sleeper, and I also don't know if I could do it, even if I could pull it off. But Zhang, even though BOLO was his incredible henchman who he's had for at least 25 years. And you got to assume he was a head henchman at the first scene. So he's probably at least 5 years on the job there. That's 30 years, right, of being Zhang's like head guy.
Yep.
And he's still putting on his jacket every single time he gets out. So I would like to have something. But the thing is, I'm kind of like, even when I have maids come over or we have nannies, I always try to like help out when they're around. So I'm not even sure if I could pull it off.
Yeah, you have to practice.
I have to practice, like putting my arms out. But having someone to just like put on your coat, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like a next level.
You've made it.
You've made it.
You've made it in a way that it's like that doesn't even make you uncomfortable.
No. Yeah, you are so above any petty problems or concerned about anyone's feelings. Like, put on my coat.
Put on my coat.
I need help. And that's all that I want help. That's all I am thinking about. So maybe one day aspiring to be a put on my coat guy. It's like, I think it's because it's a complete opposite of who I currently am.
Yes.
So to reach that point, you flip things.
Really made it. Yeah. Well, I'm pulling for you.
Thank you.
My sleeper pick, and this is just a personal favorite as well, secret doors. I love a secret door. The fact that I don't have a secret door is a personal failing of mine.
You have many opportunities in this house for a secret door.
We did a pretty serious renovation here a number of years ago, and we did look into putting in a secret door.
You did.
But when the budget starts to get out of hand, you might not be surprised to hear that the secret door is one of the first things to go.
The secret part always makes it more expensive.
Yes. Yes. You can do it cheap, but like you don't want to have a cheap secret door. You really want to have a secret door that is done right.
You want the bookcase to look like the bookcase.
Exactly. So no secret door yet, but that is, I feel like I will have a house with a secret door at some point, hopefully with something awesome on the other side.
There's a great secret door in this too.
Yes, it's a great secret door. Great scene.
Do you have any honorable mention picks?
I have so many honorable mentions. I'll just buzz through these fast. I love the idea of just hiding a gift for someone that they can like uncover later.
Oh, yes.
And they can just enjoy it. Because I do find the sort of gift giving thing to be a little weird and can be uncomfortable or awkward. I just like, you hide a gift somewhere and then you tell someone where it is and then they can open it on their own. It's like the most courteous way to give a gift.
Totally agree. Because the whole point of giving gifts is it's for the other person. But I think a lot of times it gets misconstrued in this way where it's for the gift giver.
Yes.
Right? It's like, oh, I want to see their face. And then you feel that pressure as the gift opens.
Yeah,
like,
you have to like it. What if
this is the best gift I've ever received.
What if I never want this? What if I already have one?
Or if it's just fine.
Yes.
It's not going to change my life. I might not even smile too much if I got a gift card because it's just cash. And
right. Now you got to figure out how to spend it.
Yeah, exactly.
So hiding a gift, love that. Cash suitcase. Love a good cash suitcase.
Yeah.
I'd like to have a cash suitcase at some point. Never. I got two that are related. One is doing deals on a boat. Why don't more people do deals on boats?
I think we know why.
Oh, well,
it doesn't go well.
It doesn't always go well, but a lot of deals don't go well. And it wasn't because of the boat per se. And they did get away, but their problem. So they didn't do it right.
No,
they did a deal on a boat way too close to shore.
Yeah,
there's the whole thing.
Point to being there.
You might as well have been on the dock.
The cop boat came around the corner.
Yes.
You can't come around the corner in the ocean.
Yes, that's the thing. You got to do your deal on a boat where you're out a mile. It doesn't have to be far, but just far enough that you can see someone coming over the horizon.
That's got to
book it out of there.
That's got to be laziness, right? You're like, we're stopped going out there. Yeah. They never come around here.
Exactly.
You're like, why don't we just stand? Eventually, you just get to stand on the dock.
Yeah,
you don't even go on the boat.
They basically work, but you go out a little bit. I'm not saying far.
Sure.
Motor out there for 20 minutes and then you will never get snuck up on when you're doing a deal on a boat. So love that. Related, meeting someone on a ferry. I like that. It's harder to be followed. It's kind of classy for some reason. It also puts a time period on your conversation. You know, when we get there, we're parting ways.
Yeah,
so it's like when you have a meeting that's scheduled for a certain time, you have that on a ferry, you get to your destination, meeting's over.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
A forced ending to a meeting that everyone could use.
Yes.
The boat is docked. We're here.
We're done.
We're done.
I loved the Climax Club. Amazing name. The place looked great. It was perfect for that name. Club. Love that.
Rough translation, I guess.
Yeah, yes. And I also just loved the idea of smashing a glass when you're done with it. It's just the most brazen, careless thing you could possibly do, and it was perfect here.
The one was that what The one before in the fight?
In the fight.
In the fight, yes.
Yes.
Oh my, so much glass broken in that scene. No blood. This is like almost no blood in this movie.
Like calluses, I guess? I'm not sure.
Tough skin, for sure. I have an anti-pick.
Oh, let's hear it.
And this hit me because I had just flown cross-country back here to Boston from California, and I couldn't imagine someone trying to pull this stuff on me after a flight. But not going right to the hotel after a long flight. So
yeah. Quick detour to
quick
this.
detour.
Really
We're just going to stop
place.
over here. It's always someone who's like, I'm going to see a family member over here. We're going to go to this restaurant over here. And you got all the stuff from the flight. You got your suitcases and you're gross and you just want to like go and get there. The whole flight, you're like, I just want to get there and get into the room and maybe take a shower or lay down or just decompress for like 10 seconds.
Yes.
And get all the stuff in there. I don't want to schlep things around to the Climax Club and all these other places. And you go one place, you're out of the car, somebody wants to go somewhere else, and then you just walk around a city carrying luggage. So when you get off the plane, go drop your stuff off and then go what you need to do.
Yeah.
Go do what
Wash
you need
your
to do.
face.
Wash your face.
Change your clothes.
Yeah.
Get that airplane off of you.
You just did 40 hours across across. You can afford 2 hours, an hour to go to the hotel, put your stuff, come back. So that was so frustrating. I hate, and it's not even planned. Like if you knew the whole flight,
But you could prepare.
they're in the taxi to the hotel, and he's like, "We got a stop to do."
Yeah.
I want to shower. I want to shave, Frank.
Yeah. I mean, Frank was not good about telling anybody what the plan was.
You get that long flight to be like, "Hey, we're going to meet your brother."
Yeah.
I thought it would be a surprise. I would have his girlfriend touch you a bunch. We all win. All right, so our next topic, which is our first binary choice topic, which I'm pretty excited about, is favorite JCVD. What Jean-Claude do you like?
Yeah. And this, I feel like with the dual role, we just had to do this.
Of course.
We had to do it. And it's tough because obviously they're both good. They're very different.
The question here is, do we eat, like, will we let ourselves pick who we're going to pick? Or are we both going to end up picking the other one?
I feel like we probably inevitably will pick the other one.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't know.
Let's see. Cool.
I guess I'll go first. So
yeah,
we'll
right.
put it
I'm
on
going to
you.
go with...
It's really a question for you.
It's a question for me. You're right. Do I stick to my guns or... Okay, cool.
Or maybe maybe it's not even a question. Maybe who you're going to pick is different.
Right.
We will see. I am going to go with Chad. And I'm going with Chad for this one particular reason. Chad is the LA spandex preppy Jean-Claude Van Damme. He is, I don't know if it's lied to. It's close to a lie about this trip.
Yeah.
Never told what's going on.
And his uncle.
Yes. Not told about his family, not told about where he's going, not told about what he's doing. He's ripped out of his very happy lifestyle, goes to Hong Kong, totally different world, and just rolls with it.
So
he just rolls with it. He gets thrown into this absolutely insane situation, and suddenly he's kicking ass. He's shooting people. At no point is he like out. I mean, he looks at the place, sure, but he is not. He takes the situation in stride and just goes with it. People give him a hard time left and right. His own brothers give him a hard time, and he just goes with it and excels. He's one of these guys. Like he doesn't complain about things. He just takes care of business.
I'm not sure he's ever killed a guy or shot a gun before.
No, he was working
he was
in
fine.
A workout studio, and all of a sudden he's in this crazy place in someone else's turf, and he just does it.
He does it.
He does it. So I can't. I see that, and I'm like, this is a guy that just takes care of what he needs to take care of. And I got to pick that.
Those are all great points, and this is a scenario where just because you like one over the other doesn't mean you don't like the other one, right? Both
absolutely
easily pickable. And for a while, the first couple watches, I was Team Chad too. And I made a hard turn for Team Alex on my final watch because this guy got the shit end of the stick here. This is like one guy was raised by Frank in Hollywood, learning how to do karate and pick up the hottest girls in the world. And and along with that, he's a happy, nice guy you can adjust. Alex was left at an orphanage in a non-English speaking country as a white kid growing up in Hong Kong at an orphanage.
Yeah.
And
he's had it
rough. Had it pretty rough.
Yep.
Came out like, he's got some bruises on him and he's got he's rough around the edges a little bit, but when anything really needs to get done, they're like, all right, can we where's Alex?
Yeah.
Like, Alex is the one who's going to actually get us through this. And he is kind of like not right to be so upset with Chad, but like Chad's trying to sleep with his girl. That's happening during the movie. So I kind of get his side.
Is he though?
He
certainly has. I mean, there's the scene.
I'm going to say he absolutely is. The smile he had on his face, which he knew what he was doing when he was going to meet her when he got that call, I think was clear that he wanted to get with her. And Alex is who he was. Like, for how he got brought up, he's a pretty good guy. He's just doing like cognac and smokes. That's nothing. It's not that bad.
No, he's not a bad guy.
Not a bad guy by any means. Well, there's a couple parts. He has a trouble. He's very sheltered. He doesn't believe in too much, outside the lines thinking. He doesn't like wearing loud, flashy clothing or maybe having sex with guys, wherever it may be. He hits his girlfriend. There's some awful things here. Yeah. But you got to remember, this is a troubled man from the 90s who was just thrusted into this crazy tunnel situation. Yeah. And he had no idea that it was coming. So I'm going to say, with everything that he went through without any help, it's got to be Alex. Yeah. But it's also
two great choices.
It was hard to pick Alex after he hit his
two great
choices. But yeah,
like I wonder, do you think they made it? I feel like there was a period where they were making coins for everything. Yeah, I don't know if that coincided with this film, but I'd love a coin that just had both of them on both sets.
Well, does that mean
Chad's side and Alex side?
Right, one side has the bump and the other has the cut, or they both have the bump and cut? Because
I'm not sure, but this could be. These are obviously important details to think about when maybe we just need to make our own commemorative double impact coin.
We have a coin. We got a drink. I think we just like the movie. Yeah, where we're at here. So all right, good. We stuck to our guns, and they both got picked. That's what I was hoping.
Perfect.
Nice. Bumper sticker. What line of dialogue from this movie would you most like to see on the back of somebody's car?
So mine's from fairly early in the movie, right after Alex and Chad have met. And I'm going to truncate the line for the bumper sticker.
Nice.
But I could see this particularly in Texas. And mainly because there's been, I feel like, a lot of people from California moving to Texas, and there's like a Texas-California thing.
I got this.
So I'm going, the line is, take your fancy clothes and your black silk underwear and go back to Disneyland. And I think on the bumper sticker, you probably just say, take your fancy clothes and go back to Disneyland. Yep. And that gets, you know exactly who's driving that car. You know exactly their point of view. It's not my bumper sticker, but I think that encapsulates a vibe perfectly. And now, with me currently living in Southern California, I can see this. There's like parts that would be like, if you're like an LA person, LA downtown, and you see someone flashy, whatever, looking like JCVD, and they're clearly from like Anaheim, and they go to Disneyland, you would say, go back to Disneyland. And that would be like, essentially, our town is tougher than your town, whatever. Like, I lived in Oceanside, which was like a tough town, but there would be people who'd be like, go back to Disneyland. Yep.
Perfect. And it so sums up the person who is inside that car.
Yes. You know who that person is, you know what they're trying to say.
That was my pick.
That's the answer.
Yeah, that's the answer. And now I'm on to my honorable mentions here, because I wasn't sure you're going to pick that, but I think I'll just go with, all right, gentlemen, let's quit flogging the log here. I think that's just like if you're sitting in traffic, and you're in traffic every day, you're just like, all right, let's quit flogging the log here. You see that you're in the same traffic every single day. You hope to see that guy bump a sticker on the way to work again, because you're just like, we're flogging the log together. So I guess I gotta go with that one.
I like it.
I almost picked when JCVD around the split scene, and he was explaining as to the why he's able to do these splits, and he said, because of my big legs and karate, I can do the splits no problem. And I think like that's like but basically saying, because of my prep, I can do all these awesome things in life, and I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that'd be somebody who like really takes care of their car.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got any more?
That's it. For me, it was that winner.
I also had more cake, anyone. I thought that was good. And then something awful happens, just like, more cake, anyone? Length, is it too short, perfect, or too long?
A touch too long, but just a touch.
Yeah. All right, fine. I'll take that. I was going to say perfect, but you're right. Just a touch. We can take a touch off. One change to be a blockbuster.
So for me, and I know that Jean-Claude Van Damme was using this to try to get away from this pure martial arts thing and for like he was trying to expand his repertoire as an actor. But just as we said, this is a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie because that is a genre. I like that genre, and I like that genre to have martial arts in it.
Yep.
So I think one change would just have more martial arts. There's some, but you're in Hong Kong. Give me more.
Did you not like? It's more gunplay.
It's more gunplay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which also is a very Hong Kong, like the sort of like John Woo style of films and all that. But I don't know. You have one of the greatest martial arts actors from the 90s. Let him kick.
Yeah, it's we did a movie like this, but it would be like having Sydney Sweeney show off her butt.
Yes, exactly.
There's something else there.
Yeah, we had you here for a reason. So, I mean, it's tough. Obviously, we talked about how much fun this movie and how like pretty perfect this is. But me personally, and I feel like sometimes also our changes are more objective.
Yeah,
this one's totally subjective. I just like watching Jean-Claude Van Damme kick people.
Of course, and the slow motion made up for it a little bit because it stretched out the.
It was a great use of slow motion.
One change to be a blockbuster for me is maybe make it not about tunnel money. It was really hard. Wasn't quite sure.
I still don't really understand what was going. Whose money was it? Why didn't they get it? Is there a toll on this tunnel? Where's the money coming from?
It was like, forget about this. It's going to make the studio look like a dog pound, which also makes money, but it's going to make. He said it was going to make our aerobic studio look like a dog pound.
Yeah,
this tunnel money that's coming in. It's really hard.
A scene was cut.
To me, it feels like it was a Mad Lib that was wrong.
Yes.
They put the wrong, it should have been like gambling money or drug money. And they're like, tunnel?
Yeah. It's one of these things that we talk about this. Movies, often our movies have some sort of point that's not fully explained. Mm-hmm. And I just took this to be obviously there's some way this tunnel's making a lot of money and they just didn't explain it to us because we can make it up for ourselves.
You and I don't care what they can call it any money. Mm-hmm. We're good. But I think for the masses, it's hard to really get behind. These boys need their tunnel money. Let's go back to Hong Kong. And it was even so funny. I started dying laughing at the end of the movie when Zhang was like, "What is this really about anyway?" Was his quote. The tunnel?
Yeah.
He was like, I don't even know what we're doing here. Yes. What's going on? Even he, the villain, at the end.
It's a public works project.
His hand is mashed. He's laying there dying. He's like, what is this? The tunnel? Sure. You can have that and half of everything. The tunnel's some small thing. This is what this is about.
It had to be a toll, right? I figured it was a toll that just a very like that bridge in Newport. It's like $12.
I think right. And it's just constant flow.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's toll money. So even that is like,
show us a toll once.
Even toll money is good.
Yeah, show us one person going through the tunnel, like dumping a suitcase of cash into the little slot.
Then you pan out and you see like a bazillion cars there. That's what it's for.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Then I can get behind tunnel money. Last category, spin-off ideas. You got a good one?
It's very early stage.
Nice.
But also just obvious for me. And it was probably the idea was obvious as soon as I saw BOLO's name in the credits. I want a BOLO spinoff. The man, the character deserves his own movie. And I kind of like the idea. You see BOLO early on and you see him later in the movie. He has not aged.
No.
He's obviously shot in the face.
Yep.
There's been some cosmetic differences. Has not aged. I wish there were more sequels and spinoffs that were almost like non sequiturs. Like, I want this movie to be like, it's all BOLO and it's all about how he has this, like, not fountain of youth, but something like that, that he's like found some way to stay young. It's like a totally different movie, but it's his story. And he's also still, he still has this job or whatever.
He's like leaned over there and he sees Hugh Jackman.
Yes, yes, exactly. So just totally different film, totally different genre, same awesome badass character.
Yep.
And just go, I want to know why he's like, what he's doing to stay so young.
I love the idea of it not having to do it. Like, this is the world we introduced.
Yes.
And it's not a part of that storyline anymore. We're going to make this world
totally new story.
Totally new story. And I would like, who wouldn't watch that? We all need to, like, the guy is as if that time didn't pass at all. Right. And I looked up pictures of him. That's his real life. At like 80, he's jacked. He's just constantly fit and he does not age.
We got to find out what he's doing.
My spin-off idea, I thought basically it was 2 JCVDs was good. It was better than one.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like let's extrapolate a little bit. Let's get some more. So I think That if we go back to when that hit happened with Bolo, the goal was to wipe out the whole family.
Yep.
And then tell Zhang that the family's dead, including the two kids.
Mm-hmm.
So Bolo is not going to like going back to Zhang and be like, hey, I didn't complete the mission.
Mm-hmm.
What I basically want here is, because they had the mess up, they cloned the Jean-Claudes, and they were gonna pass those off as like the dead bodies to them. That didn't happen. Now we have two evil cloned Jean-Claudes that are raised by Zhang and Griffith.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
Evil
Jean-Claude. So then 25, years later, those two then meet up eventually, the bad ones that were convinced that the good ones had like killed their dad and it's their fault. And whatever it is, years later, we have two good JCVDs. Chad and Alex go against the two bad ones. And we see which one wins. Ultimately, at the end, what I hope happens is they come together and realize that they're not actually fighting each other. Right. They band together. Now we have 4 JCVDs to maybe have the next sequel. Yeah. So I just wonder how many. What we all think, like, well, maybe 2 is a lot to play, but then Nutty Professor came along, and there's like 15
multiplicity.
Right, multiplicity. There's like 15. So why don't we have like 15 JCVDs eventually kicking ass in future versions of this?
I mean, you had me a clone. You had me a clone. You were like, what if we clone? I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Too many words. Clone them, have 4 of them, 2 versus 2. Good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's. I downloaded this script for the research because now I'm just like heavy into ChatGPT for everything, and I have this huge long thread going of all the ones we've been doing, and it has a whole methodology down. So I downloaded, which 22 pages, 22 pages, big font.
Yep.
It looks like he had to get to 22, or they had to get to 22, so he had messed with like the size of the words or whatever. Right.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so much to work with here. There's the double Jean-Claude. I mean, I feel like the fact that we had the multiple Jean-Claudes, we had all the bad guys here.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just, this movie is so stuffed in the perfect way possible.
It makes sense why it is an hour and 50 minutes.
Yeah.
That it's so stuffed, because there's so much stuff, and there's so much slow-mo you have to go in. And we didn't go into like the...
It's true. If you didn't have the slow-mo, this movie's an hour and a half.
It could be an hour and a half. And we didn't go into the amount of like rolling shots that were in this movie and upside down shots that could easily be seen as like, oh, like if my wife walked in the room watching this, she'd be like, this is stupid, but you can see the whole movie in its context, and it's not. No. Any notes we didn't get to? Ooh. Oh, wow, we can't say this one. There's one line. This is the finish is awful, but it's used a lot. I'm drunk, but tomorrow I'll be sober, and he'll still be a blank. It's a nice line.
It is. Not the way you have to change the ending, but it's
But it's 100%. A good thing if somebody's like, "You're drunk." We go, "Well,
yes,
I am drunk, but tomorrow you're still going to be a jerk."
Yep. I think I got through most everything else. I did have a moment early on in the film where I was like, when I saw Frank, and I was like, "Is that Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's?" Because he, in the younger self with his mustache, he looked just like the guy from Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah, he did.
Like, I was like, oh my God, it's Bernie.
If
then
we
it's
hadn't
just like,
seen,
oh no, they put a mustache on him to make him look young.
Yeah, I had the same thing with him. Not the Bernie part, but I just couldn't believe that it was Terry.
Yes, right. Yeah.
The drunken Irish lawnmower guy. This is... Oh, last thing. Can anyone play I Can't See better than Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Ooh.
It's always...
I don't think so. Yeah.
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport. I mean, that put him on the map.
Right. Not being able to see the splits are his 2 best attributes.
Yep. No, I did have one more thing. Tossing the lighter on the ground, I thought was one of these scenes that when the Chinese bad guy, he had the lighter that was stolen from the Jean-Claude's family originally, and he's trying to, it's a fancy lighter, and he's trying to work it to light a cigar, and he can't use it, can't figure it out. And it's like a gold lighter that's clearly expensive and meant something, and he just throws it on the ground. And it was early on when you sort of met this character. That was just one of those scenes, a detail that tells you exactly who this guy is.
It's funny when there's a little detail that tells you exactly who it is. Like the Griffith early on when he like puts his like chin in and takes a drag of a cigarette and spitting away, like little things like that. That's why you don't need a big dialogue, a big script for this, because you can see it. Oh, I almost picked this actually. This is my last thing. I almost picked this as a draft pick. This movie is impossible to take notes on, I thought, because you can't look away.
Yeah.
oftentimes in movies, you're like, I know what they're going to say here.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't really matter. And with this, it's like you can't look away because there might be someone's spine who's crushed. Like I looked away one time and I heard knuckles, like I think the knuckle sound effect, and that was when the guy's spine was like crushed. So I think this movie is just perfect for just not being able to look away from the screen.
Yeah. Oh, I had one. This is really my last.
Okay, cool.
One more note, and I should have mentioned this about Hong Kong. One of the joys, I guess, of filming in Hong Kong, at least in the early 90s, there were few rules, and all these street scenes. The background, those are not extras. They were just filming on the street. So people in Hong Kong. It's like, oh, there goes Jean-Claude. And you're just like, oh, you're in a movie now.
I hope that's true for the scene where he got dropped off after.
Yeah. I think,
and they're eating like on the street.
I think it is.
That's awesome.
So another reason to film our movie in Hong Kong. We don't have to pay any extras.
Yeah, not that we even need it anymore. This was a blast.
So fun.
Once again, the best Jean-Claude
movie
that we've done for sure. That exists. Do we want to talk about the next one?
I think, yeah. I mean, I think we got. Well, I don't know when this is coming out, but hopefully Halloween is coming up, or maybe it just happened, or whatever. The Halloween season stretches at least 4 or 5 months now. So we have a movie that I think was much maligned at the time because a mismatch of expectations.
Yeah, absolutely true.
Revisiting it in its own right, Halloween 3, which is a fantastic movie with the wrong name.
Yeah, absolutely. Much maligned by me. Like we talked about this earlier today. I texted you when I saw this because I was going through the Halloweens and I was like, what was that? And you texted me back like, it's good. Like it's a good movie. It's just not
a Halloween.
It's just not Halloween.
It's the Season of the Witch.
Season of the Witch.
Yep.
And I cannot wait to do it. One of the best jingles and commercial.
I mean, it's already stuck in there.
This was a blast. Don't wait till the next time. And in-person pods.
Yeah.
Pretty fun.
Great. Later.
Later.